I know that this is literally step one on a long suspension bridge that is leading me somewhere. And when you remind yourself that you're just on the bridge, you stop focusing on how long is it going to take and what's it going to feel like. And I'm not there yet. You are on the bridge and you are going to be on the bridge until you get to this other side. And then guess what happens when you get to the other side? There's another freaking bridge.
Yeah.
Every single episode is like its own bridge.
Yeah.
The other visual that I use a lot is a trail leading up a mountain, because the research is so conclusive, and Jay and I can try to beat it into your head that meaning comes from working on something. I'm going to say it again. Meaning comes from working on something with intention that has importance to you. It's that simple. You can create meaning in your life by planting a garden if it's important to you. And for me, I think a lot about, the act of going for a hike. The purpose of going for a hike, ironically, is not to get to the top. It's to be on the trail. And if you constantly stare at the top, you're going to be out of breath. You're going to tell yourself you have so much longer. When are we ever going to get there? And you are going to miss the entire point of your freaking life, which is the ride, the trail, the bridge, the mile markers, all of it. And so part of my desire to be happier is to continually remind myself, it is not about getting on that mountain, because when you get to the top of that mountain, the top of one mountain's just the bottom of another one. And if you're going up, eventually you got to come back down. Like, that is just life. If you focus on the freaking trail, whatever step you're on, and you keep reminding yourself, this is going to lead me somewhere, that is where the meaning comes in your life. Because Jay and I will both tell you guys that you put all this effort into writing a book, it publishes, you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
And we want it to be something else. We want to think that there is this silver bullet that if you get to the mountain, if you launch the podcast, if you meet the person of your dreams, then you'll be happy. And the truth is, for me personally, happiness was really about ending campaigns of misery in my mind. It was about identifying where I was arguing against myself and my potential. And it was allowing myself to get back on the trail or start walking across that bridge.
Yeah, that's I love those visuals. They're so powerful and so beautiful. And when you said the bridge one, it reminded me of, I believe this is from the Christian tradition. I believe it's from the Bible, but this statement says, the world is like a bridge. Don't build your house on it, cross over it. And I've always spiritually gravitated towards that statement very deeply. So when you said bridge, that was the first thing that came to my mind. The world is like a bridge.
I also like that term.
Yeah.
A couple reasons. So, I was telling everybody earlier about how I woke up this morning and I'm here visiting my daughter, who's 22 and a senior in college. And I felt this profound sadness. And I noticed it. And I allowed myself to feel it, because I wouldn't feel that if I didn't love her so deeply, right? And then I visualized this bridge, that this is just one step on a very long bridge that I'm crossing. And a bridge that, as a parent, like, the most important thing that I need to do as a parent is to encourage my children to fly into this world and to leave and to become who they're meant to become, which means they're going to leave. And there are a lot of goodbyes, and it sucks, but it's also beautiful. And I also love this idea of a bridge, because when it comes to anxiety, when it comes to separation, there is this concept when you say goodbye to somebody, or when you're about to leave somebody who's going to do something anxious, is you bridge that moment to the next moment you're going to see them. So I'm sure you do this when you say goodbye to your parents in the UK. You hug and say, I can't, for me, I just said, I can't wait to see you on Thanksgiving break. I can't wait to hear how this thing goes tomorrow, so that you are staying connected and bridging and closing that kind of loop of something's ending, because things are not truly really ending.
Yeah.
They're always beginnings to something else.
Yeah. One of the questions we get in my DMs a lot and comments and everything is, and I think people subconsciously or consciously have this as well, the idea that, and you just brought it about, is your parents' expectations. So either some people had parents who had very high expectations or different expectations to what the kids wanted. Like you're very aware that what your daughter wants to be and you're happy to support it as long as she wants to be it. Some people have the experience of, well, my parents had very high expectations, but they're not the expectations I want. Or my parents actually didn't have any expectations of me and they were actually more negative and they actually didn't believe in me at all and didn't really think I'd get anywhere anyway. Or when I want to try something, I get the toxic feedback of, well, you're not going to make it anyway. So I think we deal with parenting and a feeling of not believing in ourselves in two ways. One is your parents saw the path, they gave you it, but you're like, that's not my path, this is, and then your parents don't believe in it. Or your parents never believed in any path you were to take. And I think a lot of people I'm hearing right now are feeling like, Jay, I'm just surrounded by family and friends who don't believe in me, don't believe in my ideas, don't believe in the partner I want to be with. Like, I just don't feel like people support my decisions.
Yeah. Chris and I have been married 26 years. We have 3 kids. They're 23, 22, and 17. There is no doubt in my mind I've screwed them up. How could you not? I mean, we're talking about millions of moments where somebody needs emotional support and you are a mismatch in that moment, right? And I love this term of parental mismatch because it allows those of us that still have a good relationship with our parents to acknowledge a fact. And the fact is, there are things that went down in your childhood that you may not even remember that left you with negative or toxic thinking patterns that you struggle to get rid of as an adult. It is a fact, period.